I asked my fairy godmother, did the prince truly love Cinderella? If his love was real, why did he need the glass slipper to recognize her? The fairy godmother was silent for a long time before she whispered, "And you? How can you be sure? Is the man you see searching the kingdom with that glass slipper truly the prince?" "Sister, I am the one the prince is looking for. Let me try on the shoe." I clung tightly to the staircase railing, struggling desperately. My eldest stepsister, Anastasia Tremaine, pinched the soft flesh on my hip fiercely. The pain made me scream, forcing me to let go. "You shameless wretch! Look at your pathetic, impoverished self. You dare to dream of His Royal Highness Prince Charming? Go back to your daydreams." My two stepsisters, Anastasia and Drizella Tremaine, dragged me up to the attic together, kicking me onto the pile of hay. I tried to stand up and rush out, but the door was locked. "Let me out, sisters! I need to see the prince just once." I had transmigrated into the fairy tale of Cinderella, and I desperately wanted to ask the prince one question. Did you truly love Cinderella? You only met twice. What exactly did you love about her? Was it her beautiful looks, her dazzling gown, or her slender but curvaceous figure? But is that really love? My own mother believed until her death that they represented true love. She believed that as long as one was like Cinderella kind, resilient, good-natured, and non-contentious, happiness would follow. This belief was largely thanks to my grandmother. From the time my mother was small, my grandmother would constantly nag. "It is an act of great virtue to drop out of school to help your two brothers. Though you may suffer a little, just like Cinderella, if you don't endure hardships, how can the fairy godmother take pity on you? And the prince will never have the chance to fall in love with you." My mother regarded Cinderella as her ideal role model. She willingly dedicated years to raising her brothers, and indeed, she was rewarded. That year, her auntie told her that the wealthiest man in the village had taken an interest in her. My mother was like a poor sparrow who suddenly flew onto a high branch to become a phoenix. In that same year, her brothers used her dowry to marry good wives. I heard my mother lived 1 year of intense passion, but after giving birth to me, her body changed, and my father started having mistresses everywhere. Day and night, she washed her face with tears. And in the year I turned 8, unable to bear the provocation of the other women, she committed suicide. I didn't understand. She was even kinder and better than Cinderella. If there really was a prince, why didn't she wait for one? If there wasn't, why was the story of Cinderella so widely celebrated? From downstairs came the flattering voice of my stepmother, Lady Tremaine. "Your Royal Highness Prince Charming, we warmly welcome your visit." I quickly scrambled to the window to look. The prince was indeed worthy of his reputation. Golden curly hair, sharp eyebrows, and bright eyes, like the brightest star in the sky. He was tall and elegant, dismounting from a white horse. My eldest stepsister, Anastasia, with a bashful expression, curtsied and stepped forward to greet him. The two of them entered a small room. I quickly moved to another window. Through the faint mist, I saw the prince kneeling gracefully beneath my stepsister's skirt. Suddenly, a blinding silver light flashed. Perhaps it was the reflection from the silver-white armband he wore. Did the king just pass away? That white armband is a symbol of mourning. By the time I reacted, the prince had already lifted my stepsister and stepped outside. His charming eyes sparkled like a star-filled sky, and his face showed the pride of someone who had just rescued a princess from a vicious dragon. The whole retinue gallantly departed. I knew my eldest stepsister had fooled him. I also knew that on the way back to the palace, with the help of the fairy godmother, the birds in the trees would remind the prince that this was not the girl he was looking for. But at this moment, my doubt reached its peak. I looked towards the fairy godmother standing behind me. "Fairy godmother, did the prince truly love her?" The fairy godmother remained silent. I asked again, "Fairy godmother, if it's true love, why does he need the glass slipper to recognize her?" The fairy godmother flapped her wings, still silent. I grabbed her wings and knelt down. "Fairy godmother, if he is my true love, why wouldn't he recognize my face, only trusting a glass slipper? If he isn't, why would he disregard his recently deceased father just to search for me?" After a long time, an expression of reluctance appeared on the fairy godmother's face. She affectionately stroked my cheek. "My dear, let's set aside whether it's true love for a moment. Are you absolutely certain that the person carrying the glass slipper and searching the entire kingdom for you is truly the prince? I froze. Just now, the prince carried my sister away. Didn't you see him use his sword to cut off my sister's big toe? My head was buzzing, a blank void. I was about to question her further when I heard a commotion downstairs. The prince had returned. His handsome face was still gentle, the corner of his mouth slightly curved, showing no trace of a cruel person. He led my second stepsister, Drizella, who looked shy, into the small room. This time, they were facing me. I saw him wield his sword and cut off Drizella's heel. The prince's charming eyes were filled with a red glow, and fresh blood dripped down the tip of the sword. Yet, he elegantly and lovingly lifted Drizella's bloody foot, helping her slide it into the exquisite glass slipper. The prince swiftly lifted her in a princess carry. The two harmoniously headed back toward the palace. A cold chill ran down my spine. I curled up in the hay, swallowed by fear, desperately clamping my mouth shut to stifle a scream. Did I transmigrate into a corrupted fairy tale? And would I be next when the prince returned again? Behind him, Drizella's pale, horrified face was evident. The prince, still elegant and noble, glanced around. His warm gaze paused on our family portrait. There's still one more girl, isn't there? Lady Tremaine looked at her two daughters' miserable feet as they crawled back up to the attic to unlock the heavy bolt. I was dragged by her before the prince. I immediately trembled, reaching out to grab the glass slipper, and quickly slipped it onto my own foot. Look, quickly. It's me. It's me. It's perfectly me. He lowered his head and saw that the glass slipper fit perfectly. Only then did he curve his lips and look up. My reflection in the prince's charming eyes sparkled like a starry sky. I finally found you. The prince gently lifted me, positioning me on the white horse. On the way to the palace, his warm voice reached me from above. Are you happy? I've punished those who bullied you? I was stunned. What do you mean? The prince chuckled, the vibration from his chest traveling through my back to my heart. The first time I came here, I saw the family portrait by the door, and I knew you were here. But you weren't among the girls who came out to greet me. Seeing the lock on the attic door, I immediately knew you must have been bullied by them. The prince chuckled softly, his warm breath fanning my forehead. How dare they lay a finger on my woman? They must have a death wish. Is that so? I carefully asked. I thought you were just infatuated with my beauty. So you truly love me? The prince gently rubbed his chin against the top of my head. I admit I was initially attracted by your beautiful appearance, but later, through our conversations at the ball, I saw that you were kind, filial, and virtuous. That is the real reason you moved me. No man can refuse a girl like that. Before I could fully process those words, the horse suddenly stopped. We had arrived at the palace. The prince arranged a bedroom for me so beautiful that I stood there, dumbfounded. It was a dreamy blend of pink and white, the ceiling adorned with countless crystal chandeliers. Light pink curtains draped around the princess bed, and the floor was covered with soft, white lambskin rugs. Sunlight filtered through the intricate patterns on the windows, casting a radiant golden glow on the carpet. It was romantic and magnificent, like a true fairy tale. Every detail showed me the prince's deep affection, but I still had one final question. Your Royal Highness, you had many ways to find me, like commissioning a portrait or hosting another ball. But why did you choose the most tedious and unreliable method? To personally carry the glass slipper and have every girl in the city try it on. It wastes time, effort, and resources. The prince stood against the light. I couldn't clearly see his expression. The truth is, when you ran away, I noticed the rough patch on your heel and guessed that your background was not noble. But I love you. It has nothing to do with your status. I only care about the person you are. However, the difference in our social standing is bound to be opposed by the royal family. My advisors suggested that this search for a wife should be turned into a beautiful, city-wide romantic event. Then, I instructed the court officials to document our story and spread it throughout the kingdom to gain the support of the common people. Only with the power of the people can we fight against the royal family and win. Hearing those words, I felt even more narrow-minded. I had doubted the prince's love for Cinderella, while he had already charted a future for us both. Watching his tall figure disappear, my heart wavered. Could my doubts have been wrong all along? I sat down at the dressing table, muttering to myself, the prince really does love Cinderella. Suddenly, a few images flashed through my mind. No, that's wrong. The prince lied. At both balls, I wore a floor-length gown. How could he have seen my feet? The only chance he had to see my feet was today when I stood before him to try on the glass slipper. Moreover, if he had recognized me from the family portrait, when Lady Tremaine dragged me before him, he should have shown joy at finding me again. But no, he only embraced me with excitement after I successfully put on the glass slipper. Everything he said was fabricated based on details after we had recognized each other. The prince never recognized me from the beginning. Suddenly, the dressing mirror vibrated. The bronze surface gradually darkened and a giant eye emerged. The prince? Yeah. After a bizarre laugh, an ancient voice echoed from deep within the green pupil. Silly girl, the prince has never been the prince. What do you mean? I knelt before the mirror, questioning it. Why do you say the prince has never been the prince? Leaving only a vague statement, the green pupil slowly disappeared. Seek out the prince's bedroom. The answer you need is there. Along with the disappearance was the mocking look deep in that pupil. Looking down the dark, deep corridor, I was drawn into an ever-deepening mystery. Both the fairy godmother and the magic mirror claimed the prince was a fake. But who exactly was he? And where had the real prince gone? I had to find the prince's bedroom. I walked alone through the dark, strange corridor. Suddenly, I heard the mournful, sorrowful weeping of a group of women. The pitiful wails, like the cries of ghosts, echoed throughout the deep hallway. The cries of so many women must be the concubines of the late king. I wondered what would become of them. The weeping rose again, like an accusation against some mysterious force. My body involuntarily trembled. I fled that place of trouble, seeking to escape. When I found the prince's bedroom, it was even darker inside than the corridor. I couldn't even make out the outlines of the furniture. Suddenly, a pile of objects in the corner of a table emitted a faint fluorescent light. I groped along the wall, walked over, and gently pulled back the curtain. In the dim morning light, I clearly saw they were masks made of human skin, and they all bore the shape of the prince's face. Suddenly, a cold voice rang out behind me. Tisk, not a good girl at all. My scalp tingled. I froze in place. It was the prince's voice. His cold hand slid along my back and reached up to my neck. Unexpectedly, the hand went past my neck, reaching to a spot on the wool. Click. The room lights turned on. The prince's face was adorned with a radiant smile, his handsome eyes curved. Scared, are you? I was just teasing you. I took a step back, forcing a laugh to play along. That's hilarious. I'll leave now. The next second, the prince forcefully hugged my waist, pulling me into his arms. We were so close I could see the tiny hairs on his face. You don't actually think those things are made of human skin, do you? It's all fake. I'm at the prime of my life. How could I stay in this boring palace all the time? When I want to sneak out, I ask my guard to apply these fake masks to my face. You can't laugh at me, though. This is our first secret. The prince's hug felt strange, bizarre, and repulsive. I forced a smile and pushed him away. Unsteady on my feet, my hand sought something to grab onto, accidentally brushing the table in front of me. Immediately, my heart pounded wildly. The prince looked at me and laughed. I haven't even done anything, and you're already unsteady on your feet. What will you do on our wedding night, the day after tomorrow? I pretended to pout, lightly tapping the prince's chest, then covering my face and running out. Once in the hallway, my whole body shook. I raised my hand to my nose. In my accidental stumble, I had touched what the prince called a fake human skin mask. It was slimy, slick, and the smell of fresh blood rushed into my nostrils. Oh, I retched violently. Those faces were indeed made of real human skin. Was this what the magic mirror wanted me to discover? The fake prince is using real human skin to disguise himself as the real prince. So what is the relationship between the fake prince and the real prince? Hatred? Love? Or a murder? And where did the real prince go? I ran frantically down the deep corridor, finally returning to my room, and shook the dressing mirror hard. Magic mirror. The prince is a fake. So where did the real prince go? A tired eye slowly appeared on the mirror's surface. He's dead. Dead. So, in the fairy tale, was the one who loved Cinderella the real prince? Or the fake prince? The pupil in the mirror dilated, then let out an utterly bizarre laugh. Does anyone truly believe in fairy tales? Real prince or fake prince, it doesn't matter. The prince who loved Cinderella wasn't a fairy tale, it was a myth. A myth staged for the common people. Why a myth? I was about to question him further. The door suddenly echoed with the prince's cold voice. Who are you talking to? His eyes swept across the room like a hawk. My body stiffened. I turned around and used my body to cover the dressing mirror. I was just talking nonsense to myself. The next second, the prince unceremoniously pushed me aside. His charming eyes now resembled the pupils of a hawk, scanning every corner of the room. Only the dressing mirror remained unquestioned. I turned back in doubt, only to realize that the eerie eye on the mirror had vanished at some point. Finding nothing suspicious, the prince acted as if he had never doubted anything. His slender hand proactively wrapped around my waist, his voice becoming intimate. After our story spreads, the common people will adore you. They can't wait for our wedding the day after tomorrow. I've had someone arrange a procession through Flower Street. We must leave immediately. The fake prince truly is a hypocrite, changing expressions faster than turning a page. I firmly refused. Go by yourself. Before I could finish, the hand on my waist compulsively pulled me forward. Only then did I realize he wasn't asking for my opinion, but commanding me. The palace maids in the hallway saw us intimately clinging to each other, their eyes full of envy and admiration. But only I knew this was not admirable intimacy, but restraining chains. Approaching the palace gate, a woman suddenly stumbled out of a room. Then, a crowd of women rushed out to help her up. They seemed to be jesting, but upon seeing the prince, they all became tense. They were the concubines of the late king. A few bolder concubines, both shy and seductive, called out, "Your Royal Highness Prince Charming." The prince completely ignored them, a hint of coldness even appearing in his eyes. Does this attitude suggest the concubines might have mistreated him? But judging by the concubines' demeanor, it didn't seem so. Their faces were full of flattery. I stared at the prince's firm jawline. What will happen to the late king's concubines? The prince's voice was gentle. According to ancestral rules, all will be dismissed from the palace. If they refuse to leave, they will remain in the cold palace to live out their old age. I looked up, about to ask further. The late king's funeral was quite some time ago. Why haven't they been dismissed yet? But I noticed a flicker of impatience hidden deep in the prince's eyes. I quickly fell silent, not knowing his true purpose. Angering the fake prince now would benefit no one. The palace gate was right before us. When the flower carriage was revealed, I nervously asked, "What is the name of our love story that will be told to the world?" He lowered his head to look at me, his charming eyes full of affection. "Cinderella. To ensure everyone can understand, it has been written as a simple, easy-to-understand fairy tale." On the flower carriage was a huge painting and a line of text. The painting depicted the sparkling glass slipper. The text read, "Every girl has a glass slipper in her heart." So in this so-called fairy tale world, the story of Cinderella already existed? Moreover, they, like my mother, held a cult-like reverence for the Cinderella story. Throughout the carriage procession, the common people showed me astonishing enthusiasm. Everyone's mouth seemed only capable of speaking a word: Cinderella. These were like a 100-meter-high tsunami, quickly submerging the city. This level of fanaticism resembled the reverence of worshippers for a guru. The procession ended ridiculously with the prince kneeling on one knee, announcing, "Let's give the warmest applause to welcome our future queen, Cinderella." The prince stayed to continue receiving the admiration of the masses. I was taken by a maid to a lounge. The door wasn't fully closed, and I faintly overheard whispering, "I can't believe these people were causing trouble at the palace gates, showing discontent with the royalty just a while ago. The prince is truly cunning after finding Cinderella." Information and memories rushed back. The pieces I hadn't understood before now linked together in my mind. The prince insisted he loved me, loved my kindness and gentleness, and didn't mind my low status. He said he wanted to create a beautiful, mysterious love story and tell it to the world. And the cheers, the waving, and the extremely fanatic eyes of the people on Flower Street. There was no such thing as true love. It was all a royal conspiracy. The king had died. Internal and external threats loomed. The royal family was weak. The prince was attempting to construct an image of a beautiful, approachable queen from the common people to regain the trust of the populace. So, when using the glass slipper to find Cinderella, he didn't fail to recognize me. He simply didn't care, because the prince had no intention of finding me. Any common girl who could fit the glass slipper would do. I had been exploited. The prince was fake, and the prince's love was fake. I no longer thought this was a corrupted fairy tale. This was the true face of the fairy tale. The stark, unembellished truth. The fairy tale of Cinderella was just a link in the chain for the royal family to consolidate their kingdom. A fire of rage erupted in my chest. I was about to leave the room when heavy footsteps sounded outside the door. I carefully lay down on the floor, hiding behind a sofa. The dialogue between the prince and a high-ranking official reached my ears. Concubine Eleanor conspired with the guard to kill His Royal Highness the Prince. Logically speaking, this group of concubines should have been dismissed long ago. Moreover, it was the guard who seized the opportunity to win Concubine Eleanor's heart. Concubine Eleanor does not deserve to die. Please reconsider, Your Highness. You dare to speak up for those women? Did you also have an illicit relationship with a concubine? A heavy sound of kneeling echoed in the silent room. This subordinate would not dare. This subordinate will go and carry out the order immediately. The sound of hurried footsteps leaving echoed on the floor, and the thick, heavy door was shut. The next second, the prince's cold scoff rang out. Since when is it your place to tell me how to do my job? In the deep corridor, a woman's piercing scream, along with the pleas of a group of women, echoed. Gradually, a faint aroma of tea wafted into my nostrils. The prince was calmly enjoying his tea. In the corridor, the official's intense scolding and threats could be heard. Slowly, the women's pleas grew weaker, leaving only concubine Eleanor's increasingly piercing screams. At some point, the sounds suddenly ceased, and everything returned to quiet. In the room, the clinking of a teacup on the table, the rustling of clothes, and then the prince's whistling footsteps as he left could be heard. I lay motionless on the floor for a long time, my ears ringing. The sorrowful weeping of those women left my heart unsettled. How could a man who despises women to this extent consider putting a woman in the highest position to maintain the stability of the royal family? Unless the prince has other schemes. I must go and see those women. Following the route etched in my memory, I found their room. The atmosphere inside was heavy. Some were secretly wiping away tears. But the strange thing was, most of them were smiling. Even stranger, after I entered, everyone kindly gathered around me. Your Highness the Queen, why have you come? Calling me Queen is too formal. Sister, come sit down, don't just stand there. Dozens of people with thousands of intentions. But I didn't understand. They were about to leave the palace. Why did they still need to read the expression of someone like me? We are all sisters. You don't need to pretend to be happy in front of me. I know you just lost a sister. If you want to cry, just cry. They exchanged glances, their faces full of confusion and incomprehension. Our crying was merely a farewell ritual for her, but her execution was well-deserved. We don't feel sad at all. It was my turn to be surprised. What was her crime? You all should have been dismissed from the palace long ago to regain your freedom and the right to love others. Why should she lose her life just for loving someone else and not mourning a dead old man? The crowd began to murmur, and they took 10 steps back. You are utterly rebellious. The king chose us as concubines, bestowing such honor and happiness upon us. How could we betray him? Didn't the Cinderella story originate from the true love story between you and the prince? How can you be neither virtuous nor kind? A person like you doesn't deserve happiness. Now, I only wanted to laugh coldly. Who told you that being virtuous, gentle, and kind will lead to happiness? They were stunned by my question, then puffed up with pride for their impending counter-argument. It's written in the story. Isn't the Cinderella story exactly like that? Didn't the prince love you because you are kind, gentle, and beautiful? Therefore, as long as one is good-natured and non-contentious, they will receive the favor of fate. Another concubine chimed in. Cinderella was like that, so the fairy godmother came to help her. The one next to her said contemptuously, "It seems you are entirely fake. You don't deserve the prince's love. We are the ones who deserve it. If we could gain the love of the king, we can certainly gain the love of the prince." Something shattered. It was my worldview. A wicked person who deceives the royal family like you is like Lady Tremaine, like a concubine who betrays the king, too ambitious, seeking things that don't belong to you. In the end, you won't have a good ending. How foolish. Breaking free from chains, seeking freedom, seeking happiness, seeking salvation for oneself in their eyes. That was greed, sin, and deserved suffering. At this moment, the magic mirror's words echoed in my mind. The prince who loved Cinderella wasn't a fairy tale, was a myth staged for the common people. I broke out in goosebumps. Exploiting Cinderella to consolidate the kingdom was merely a small part of the conspiracy. The real conspiracy, it turns out, was here. In the Cinderella fairy tale, the glass slipper is the most romantic thing. But in reality, it is an invisible chain, a yoke for women. The prince carried the glass slipper throughout the city, having every girl try it on, then released the Cinderella fairy tale, making every girl both an audience to the fairy tale and a part of it. The goal was for all girls to internalize these thoughts deep in their hearts. The glass slipper only has one size. Only beautiful, gentle, kind, and non-contentious women can fit into it. And only by becoming such a woman, in times of difficulty, can they wait for the help of the fairy godmother. Can they wait for the favor of fate? Therefore, Cinderella could be me, could be my sister, could be any girl, as long as she is a woman. After being polished by the royal family, she is Cinderella. She will be praised through generations. When she is young, it's comic books and Cinderella dresses. When she is older, it's novels and Disney parks. As an adult, it's films, plays, and glamorous high heels. When she is old, they will recount it to the next generation. This is the purpose of the royal family releasing the Cinderella story to symbolize women. This symbol includes kindness, gentleness, virtue, resilience, and non-contentiousness. Women are enslaved and domesticated by the royal family, just like those foolish concubines, just like my poor mother. In reality, there are no frogs turning into princes, no beastly princes, only toads and those who are full of beasts. We women, as such, become fools, living in tragedy, but thinking it's happiness. A loud voice interrupted my thoughts. "Cinderella, I've been looking for you. Your mother is here to attend your wedding tomorrow?" Lady Tremaine and my two stepsisters, dressed splendidly, stood at the door. The fairy godmother also accompanied them. I quickly pulled the fairy godmother into a small adjacent room. "Fairy godmother, back then, you wanted to help me escape the abuse. Why did you only give me a ball gown, a pumpkin carriage, and footmen?" The fairy godmother gently stroked my head. "It wasn't that I wanted to give you a ball gown, but that you only desired a magnificent dress. Was it because of me? That's right, I can only grant you what your heart truly desires most. It's because you longed to attend the prince's ball." Indeed, Cinderella herself was infected by the royal family's rotten ideology. She knew she was beautiful, and a magnificent dress would make her even more beautiful to gain the prince's favor, clinging to him for survival. But hadn't she learned the lesson from her father? Her father ignored her miserable life to chase after her stepmother. Men, they cannot be trusted. The only thing you can rely on is yourself. I am not Cinderella. I don't want to have magic and then waste it on a man. Fairy godmother, I want to become a knight who saves herself from the evil dragon. I want to wield a sword and carve my own path. What do I need to do? I only need one thing. What is it? Have you watched Peter Pan or Pirates of the Caribbean? No. Aren't those stories only for boys? Those stories teach boys that a bright future depends on cultivating good qualities, and what they want, they must seize for themselves. Among the many qualities, you only need one thing right now, and that is courage. Can you use magic to bestow courage upon me? Oh, my dear, That doesn't need the help of magic. As long as you want it, it will grow from deep within your heart. Anytime? Anytime. I clenched my fist. What's the point of being a princess or a queen? If I'm going to do this, I'm going to be the best. Cinderella. Why don't you greet your sisters? Lady Tremaine followed, her expression complex. She looked reluctant to lower herself, but was forced to do so. You're marrying the prince. Why don't you think about helping your sisters? Looking into her eyes full of desire and ambition, a plan began to germinate in my heart. Mother, I can help your daughters change their class and enjoy a wealthy life without sacrificing their marriage. On the wedding day in the central square, the streets were empty as people rushed there, enthusiastically attending our wedding. I stood in the center, wearing a heavy jewel-encrusted crown and a wedding dress nearly 2 meters long. My feet were in glass slippers as high as stilts. I was exhausted, but had to maintain a refined, noble demeanor just to earn one line from the common people's mouths. The queen is so beautiful, so noble. And the prince? He wore a custom-tailored suit, a few symbolic medals on his chest, and a sword hanging at his hip, practical and life-saving in a crisis, easily fitting the handsome image in everyone's eyes. At this moment, he held a large diamond ring and asked me affectionately, Cinderella, will you agree to be my wife, to become the queen of this country? I drew the sword from his hip and thrust it straight through his chest. I don't want to be the queen. His charming eyes widened, full of shock and disbelief. He didn't understand why a woman who was normally gentle would dare to hold a sword. As the prince slid down, I whispered softly into his ear, I want to be you. The royal guards and soldiers rushed forward. I turned and shouted, look closely at who this prince really is. The sword wound on his chest caused the mask on the prince's face to fall off. The people in the front row gasped. The news spread layer by layer, and the entire kingdom erupted. That face turned out to be the face of the late king. My 2 stepsisters, Anastasia and Drizella, brought the dressing mirror. I looked at the magic mirror. Repeat what you told me yesterday for them to hear once more. Last night, I brought Lady Tremaine and my stepsisters before the magic mirror to question it. Who is the current prince? Where did the real prince die? The mirror intentionally remained silent like a stubborn mule. Lady Tremaine then picked up a chair, pretending to smash it, and the mirror immediately obediently answered. After the first ball, the king and the prince debated delaying the succession to the throne. The ambitious prince disagreed, even threatening to force the king to abdicate. The king grew angry and killed the prince. To conceal his crime, the king invited a sorcerer to transform him into the prince to continue ruling the country seamlessly. I then asked the magic mirror, so how can the king be reverted to his original form? He said, just kill his physical body. The magic will naturally dissipate. That was all he told me. The common people listened, their faces filled with astonishment. The king they revered was so despicable, their faith collapsed. But just like those foolish concubines, when the king falls, they will find a new pillar of support. And the Cinderella fairy tale had helped me win the people's hearts. With just a little push from me, this kingdom would easily change hands. The king was utterly debauched, neglectful of state affairs, and showed contempt for the common people. He is truly despicable. If you are willing to support me, I will ensure your well-being during my reign. And my 2 stepsisters, Anastasia and Drizella, who stood here today to present the magic mirror and reveal the truth to you all, will become the great founders of this nation. The crowds looked at each other. I knew they were wavering. Everyone knew my 2 sisters had abused me over a man. Yet, here I was, willing to reconcile all grudges. Such magnanimous character is exactly the character a ruler should possess. I continued to emphasize my point. The king not only had no love for his people, but he also suppressed the minds and potential of women. He wanted us to believe that beauty, modesty, patience, and virtue are the only right paths, while diminishing our courage, strength, and resilience. He made us believe that a good life can only be achieved through a man. They fear women with independent thoughts who might escape their control. Therefore, they have brainwashed women for generations so that we willingly become playthings for men's pleasure. This is the truth behind why fairy tales, like Cinderella, have been propagated for hundreds of years. I kicked away the glass slipper and raised the rapier high. The king's blood ran along the blade, down to the hilt and over my wrist. But what we women need has never been a glass slipper. What we need is a trusty sword to carve our own path. I did not hesitate to admit I am ambitious and courageous, because these qualities do not contradict kindness and nobility. If you are willing, fight alongside me. At this moment, Lady Tremaine, whom I had strategically placed in the crowd, shouted loudly, "The Queen! The Queen!" A few isolated shouts rang out. Gradually, the crowd shouted louder and louder until a large area was chanting together. Finally, tens of thousands of people no longer shouted, "Long live the King!" They shouted, "Long live the Queen!" The two words, "the Queen," soared high into the sky, shaking the air and echoing eternally in a sky that had not been stirred for millennia. The wedding turned into my coronation. After it ended, "Mother, I can't believe that little Cinderella trick actually worked. She's quite talented, isn't she? Mother, I can choose my own partner now. How about that blonde guy beneath the platform today? Don't ask me, dear. I need to go home and shower immediately. Being crammed with a sweaty crowd has made me stink too." Lady Tremaine and my two stepsisters disappeared down the hallway. They are not kind people. They are people with desires and ambition. And in the initial phase of the transition of power, these are exactly the kind of people I need. The cries of "Long live the Queen" still echoed throughout the royal square, not as a fairy tale chant, but as the roar of a political revolution. I turned, the heavy crown cool against my forehead, no longer a burden of expected nobility, but a symbol of power seized. The glass slipper lay shattered on the stone platform, a final testament to the myth I had just destroyed. The king's deceit was exposed, the people's faith was redirected, and the kingdom had found its new ruler. I, the girl who transmigrated seeking answers about true love, had found a far more valuable truth. Freedom is not granted by a fairy godmother. It is taken by a sword. My reign began not with a dance, but with a declaration, a new era where women would no longer be judged by the size of their shoes, but by the strength of their will.